This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
It's the Friday News Roundup. We've got updates on the arson attack at the governor's mansion, the abrupt ousting of the president at Community College of Philadelphia, and neighbors are fed up with broken streetlights. It's Friday, April 18th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week at the Filler Club is CityCast Philly contributor OJ Spivey. Hey, OJ, good to see you again.
Trenae, always great to see you. Always great to be here.
Yes. All right. We've got a lot of headlines to get through. Lots of things happened this week. We got to start with the latest on what we know now about the arson attack at Governor Josh Shapiro's home early Sunday morning. Authorities have now in their custody a man from Harrisburg named Cody Bomber, terrorism, arson, and some other crimes for allegedly trying to kill Shapiro by setting his home on fire. These attacks happened just hours after the governor hosted a Seder dinner for Passover, which is a Jewish holiday, with his family inside of the executive mansion. They were sleeping at the time of the fire, and then that's when the story takes a real turn. Reports from NBC News say, according to warrants, Bomber called 911 about 50 minutes after the fire was reported, and he voiced his frustrations over the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And he said something like, "You know where to find me. I'm not hiding. I will confess to everything I've done," which is crazy, right?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy, kind of bizarre and all. And usually when someone commits a crime like that, they don't want to be caught. So I don't know if there's any type of mental issue there as well. And I also question, the lack of security. How was he able to come right up to the governor's mansion and not only, bang through a window and nonetheless throw a Molotov cocktail through the window and cause, what we see is significant damage. So just the whole thing is just kind of bizarre to me. And, I understand there's a lot of conflict and there's a lot of disagreement as far as, where you stand as far as what's going on overseas and all. But I mean, trying to set the governor's mansion on fire is certainly not the answer.
Right. I read in Spotlight PA that a third-party expert will actually do an independent investigation into looking at Shapiro's security. They're going to review the security because there were reports saying that Bomber was carrying a hammer. And had he gotten access to the governor, we could have had a completely different story. And thank God we didn't have that story. Also, he wasn't initially arrested. Authorities did declare a manhunt for whoever committed the crime at the executive mansion. But Bomber actually turned himself into the police Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's a lot of unanswered questions from, how was he able to get the access to the governor's mansion to the authorities on, what was the procedure that night from him confessing he didn't call the police until a good half hour, 45 minutes till afterwards. And I know he spoke with his, his significant other. And, that's when they called 911. But again, it's a lot of unanswered questions why he didn't get arrested right away. So a lot of unanswered questions. And, people want to know why, because again, this is an attack on a government official. Mm-hmm. And no matter what, we've seen attacks on the president in the recent year. People wonder why elected officials walk around with security detail, of course, Secret Service, if it's, the feds and all. So,
and this is why.
Right. And I would guess that Governor Shapiro would have a lot more heightened security now.
For sure. On Wednesday, Governor Shapiro had a press conference. He answered questions from reporters. He didn't say whether he thinks that he and his family were targets because of their Jewish faith, but this is what he did say.
I said in Altoona, after we captured the individual who shot and killed the U.S. healthcare CEO, and I said on Sunday that this kind of violence has no place in our society, regardless of what motivates it. This is not how we resolve our differences. And this is not okay. This level of violence has to end. And it has to be roundly condemned by everyone. Both political parties, people from all different walks of life. It's not okay.
So I read in the BBC that reports of anti-Semitic incidents have increased more than 200% since the attack on October 7th, 2023, and they trace it to about the fall of 2024. It says that, some of these attacks could be in the form of like verbal or written harassment, vandalism, or physical assault. In the story, it also says that the states that have the highest number of recorded cases, California, New York, New Jersey, Florida. And in the story, the Council on American Islamic Relations, CAIR, released a report in April of 2024 saying that anti-Muslim incidents also reached high levels in 2023. So we're definitely seeing these particular groups experiencing hate and violence in really high numbers. We've got more news after the break. Filler Club is a private city club in the heart of Center City, designed as a third space for the modern city dweller, equal parts professional, social, and cultural hub. Located across from 30th Street Station, there's a boutique hotel with 14 thoughtfully designed rooms, perfect for members, friends, and family. And membership gets you access to dining, events, and a full fitness suite with an indoor pool, climbing wall, and spa services. Filler Club's work and innovation hub, ideal for entrepreneurs, remote workers, and teams of colleagues. And when you're thinking about work, there's everything from shared desks to private offices and boardrooms. Learn more about Filler Club becoming your third space, where work, community, and leisure intersect. Get more details at fillerclub.com/CityCast membership.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast. We've all set health goals: lose weight, exercise more, eat better. But without a plan, those goals often fade. That may have happened to you. It has definitely happened to me. And that's where Prolon comes in. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet gives you a science-backed, structured approach to stay on track and see real results. And now Prolon is upping their game with the new next-gen 5-day program, delivering the same science-backed benefits in a cleaner, more convenient, and more flavorful format. Prolon is a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. Next Gen builds on the original Prolon with 100% organic soups and teas, a richer taste, and ready-to-eat meals. Developed over decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by top U.S. medical centers, Prolon has been shown to support biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, fat loss, and energy. I've been doing the 5-day program, and I feel so much better. I really enjoy the tasty energy bars, the snacks and soups, and the fact that I can enjoy meals, even though the calorie count is super low. The flavors and textures are excellent. An olive oil snack here, broccoli and quinoa soup there, hibiscus tea, a yummy nut bar. It's got the benefits of a 5-day fast, but doesn't have the challenge of doing it with pure liquids. It's a system reset. And also, I know this sounds funny, but it's not. The packaging and directions are fantastic, clear, and well-organized and thoughtful. For a limited time, you can be first in line to experience the new Next Gen at special savings. Prolon is offering CityCast listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/city. That's PROLONLIFE.com/city to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/city.
Moving on, more locally here in the city, last week, the Board of Trustees at the Community College of Philadelphia voted to put the school's longtime president on immediate administrative leave. Now, there's a lot of things that have been happening recently at the community college. There was a threat of a strike, but that has now subsided, and there were deals made to not have that strike. But this recent news is really about former President Donald Guy Generals. He had been with the school for 11 years. He called this move just completely shocking. It was abrupt. That's according to some reporting from the Philadelphia Business Journal. Now, what's interesting about this story is that Generals actually knew since December that the board was not going to renew his contract, which was set to end in June. I think this is getting a lot of attention in the city because the Community College of Philadelphia is a large public institution. We've talked about it on the show, just how current Philadelphia high school students rely on this institution for different programming and educational opportunities, and just the access that this institution has given to different programming and just overall access to educational opportunities for Philadelphians. The board actually has not made any public statement about why they made this decision. And so General says that it is unclear why this all happened.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the way this is going down. Of course, we don't know the details and all. We haven't heard the side from community college. I do see that in an Inquirer article that they're working on appointing a interim president in the meantime. But usually when these things happen, they already have someone in place. I know Dr. Generals has had a esteemed career, an esteemed time at Community College of Philadelphia, as you said, Trinae. They're very important to the city. And, there's a recent program initiative that they're working with the city of Philadelphia to groom people, to give them the skills to work in city positions, to become city employees. So that's another thing that was under his presidency. And I think he was quoted in one of the Inquirer articles as well, as far as some type of upcoming partnership with Drexel University, which will be big too. Because, with a community college, a pipeline to such a well-known university, of course, here in the city and beyond, Drexel, that would be a big thing. I don't know if that's still going to happen or not. But again, going back to how this went down, we're on the cusp of graduation.
Right.
And you would think, even though everyone knows, including Dr. Generals himself, that, this is going to be his last few months here at community college, that, why not write it out and all. So, and usually they have things in place if you're going to put in an interim president. So again, a lot of unanswered questions. The board was unanimous in making this decision. And we'll just see who the new president is going to be, interim and permanent. Because like you said, Trinae, it's really an important institution and integral to the city of Philadelphia.
Yes, and we'll keep an ear out for any other developments in this particular story. All right, we'll be back after this break.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. Introducing the all-new, all-terrain Honda Passport Trail Sport, the most off-road capable Honda Passport Honda has ever dreamt up. The Passport features increased ground clearance, roof rails on all trims, and available specially developed all-terrain tires. And you'll stay comfortable with tri-zone climate control and available features like heated and ventilated front seats and a panoramic moonroof. Learn more at honda.com/passport.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
All right, this next story, sometimes people ask me, Trinae, how does CityCast really decide on episodes for the podcast? And I tell them, listen, we're all Philadelphians. Whatever we're experiencing, we kind of have those conversations as a team. Any problems we deal with in our neighborhoods, that usually ends up being like really good episodes. So the team and I were talking one day, and I told everyone that I noticed one night that some of the lights along Kelly Drive weren't lit. It was dark. I was like, why is it so dark out here? So Siani Cologne, our Hey Philly newsletter editor, she actually brought up this story that Kensington Voice had reported on this week about how neighbors in Port Richmond are frustrated over streetlight outages. So in the article, it says, according to the city's 311 service and information request data, at least 75 streetlight outages have been reported along Richmond Street between October 2024 and April 2025.
When you just said 75 streetlights going out at one time or the other, that's concerning. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And even in my neighborhood, when I notice one streetlight out, it really truly makes a difference on that block or on that street because, it's as dark as it is, of course, obviously, right? When you have streetlights out, it really impairs your vision.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see in front of you. You can't see your car. You can't see things across the street. That makes it difficult for pedestrians, makes it difficult for vehicles who can't see you, especially if you have on dark clothing. And even if you're in neighborhoods where you have more traffic on a particular block, you have a lot of cars that are speeding anyway, which is scary in itself. But if they can't see you or you're trying to cross the street, even if you're in the green light and everything, it's really a scary part. But 75 street lights, that's a lot.
Yeah. So neighbors were trying to figure out, how can we get help on this issue? So one neighbor who's a part of the Port Richmond Neighborhood Action Group took this issue to Councilmember Mark Squilla's office. They told her, listen, we'll order some lights, but she said that by the end of January, she hasn't heard back. A spokesperson from Squilla's office says that the reason that there might be some streetlight outages is because of copper wire theft. So if you ever look at the bottom of a light pole, there's this compartment, and inside that compartment is a bunch of wires. So people are stealing copper. So city officials are saying that in neighborhoods across the city, these same problems are happening where people are taking the copper wire from the bottoms of these light poles, and that more than 2,600 streetlights have been off since the beginning of this year. So it's kind of okay, well, what can we do about it? The article did mention that these lighting systems are actually maintained by the Streets Department. Some are maintained by PennDOT and Parks and Rec, and they're trying to install anti-theft systems and technology to better crack down or better protect the wires in these poles. So the Streets Department did say that the streetlights in Port Richmond should be up and running in the next 2 months or so.
Yeah, it's interesting with the copper aspect. That's a reason why the portal that was at Love Park. It's the reason why it was moved from Love Park to the City Hall courtyard because someone had cut the copper wires. And just to give the audience a little insight, copper wires are worth a certain amount of money, and that's why thieves, they go to cut it because they can, make a few dollars and, sell it on the black market or, go wherever, junkyard, what have you. So that's why it's a popular thing. And the city really needs to take the initiative, as you said, Trinae, but it really needs to ramp up to have these anti-theft streetlights in place, the bolts and all, because you can't afford to have a whole lot of street lights out. I mean, wear and tear. I know they're putting in a lot of LED lights so they can last a lot longer. But if you have people, just coming up and cutting the copper wires and, selling them off, it makes sense why we have so many of these outages. But, people want to see when they're navigating at night, especially if you work late or, you're coming in from an outing or what have you. So I just hope it gets resolved sooner than later.
Yes. And if you see a broken bulb, flickering lights, or you notice that the light poles in your neighborhood maybe leaning, there's exposed wires, or the lights are just out, call 311, or you can make a report at phila.gov. We'll have that link in the show notes. All right, speaking of the portal, I'm sure now that it has moved to the courtyard of City Hall, maybe more people will see it this weekend. OJ, do you have plans for this weekend?
Not in particular. I'll probably, hang downtown or, maybe have a nice dinner on Sunday, depending on where we go. So no plans as we speak, but I do plan to see the portal. I mean, I almost walk by it every day anyway, where it was at Love Park, if I'm on my way to get coffee or anything.
Wait, did you ever say hi to people in the portal?
I would wave here and there. I didn't spend a whole lot of time and everything, but the funny thing is, I think it wears it, shows people in Ireland or other places in Europe and everything. It's usually at night, so I hope they could see us through the portal at all. But it's always cool to just wave and just see the other side of the country. But I'm also glad that they have a different place for it and a more secure place in the City Hall courtyard. And I think it's just fun for not only residents to see, but tourists who come through as well.
Nice. This is a shameless plug, but yesterday I had a really big interview. I spoke with Marlon Wayans, comedian, actor, producer. He's going to be in the city tonight at Live Casino for his Wild Child tour. So if you are looking to laugh, cry, whatever, come on out to that. On Saturday, I'm going to be over on American Street. There is a MOCA event, which stands for Music Over Coffee and Art. It's hosted by this group called Hotbox, and it's at this cool cafe, ES Cafe Lounge. There's going to be networking, games, music by DJ BMPH, and vendors and food. And I learned that this is all free, and there will be free espresso martinis from 3 to 5. So you got to show up for that.
That'll get the people out.
Also, I don't know if I have time. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen because the weekends just go by so fast. But I do want to check out the new Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan movie, Sinners, which got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Does that ever happen? 100% on Rotten Tomatoes? Well, I'm not big on horror films.
Yeah, because it's like vampires, in the South, Well,
I'm a punk as far as gore and everything. I don't like gory stuff because I'll just freak out and everything. Right. But it does look interesting, and I might check it out. And just going back to Marlon Wayans, this week was actually the 35th anniversary of his family, the legendary show In Living Color, debuting on television. So it's ironic that he's in town. Of course, he has gained his own path and everything through the Wayans brothers, through his movies and all. So it's great that he's in town. And he's a funny dude. So
yeah. Well, okay, OJ, if you don't want to see all the gory horror stuff, the kids want to see the Minecraft movie. Would that be something more of your alley?
It might be more up in my alley. Okay. I might fall asleep a little bit, but at least I won't be freaked out about gore.
That literally happens to me. They need to sell coffee at the movie theaters because movies
I think
now
certain ones
are
do.
More than 2 hours long. I'm like, how?
Well, they should let you bring in coffee at least. Yeah. So, and I think if you do, maybe bring in your cup of coffee. I don't think they'll say anything to you.
Yeah, maybe not. And if you're looking for other events, you got to check out the Hatefully newsletter. OJ, thank you so much for joining me on this Friday News Roundup.
Thank you, Trinae. Always a pleasure.
That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our producers are Abby Fritz and Selena Say Reynolds. Our Hey Philly newsletter editor is Siani Colon. And our host is me, Trinae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from All the Kimonos, Suncatcher by Wendy Marcini, and Passing Time by Abbas Premji. If you enjoyed this week of episodes, drop a link in the group chat. Also, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Philly. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter. Be safe, y'all. Bye.